Take your seats, please. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting of January 31st, 2024 to order, also recognizing that today is the start of our 50th anniversary as a region. Feel free to join me in a moment of personal reflection. Thank you. The region of Durham exists on lands that the Mississauga, Saguenay, and Anishinaabe inhabited for thousands of years prior to European colonization. These lands are the traditional and treaty territories of the nations covered under the Williams Treaties, including the Mississaugas of Scugog Island First Nation, Alderville First Nation, Hiawatha First Nation, Curve Lake First Nation, and the Chippewa nations of Georgina Island, Beausoleil, and Rama. We honor, recognize, respect Indigenous peoples as the right holders and stewards of the lands and waters on which we have the privilege to live. In our efforts towards reconciliation, we continue to build and strengthen relationships with First Nations, as well as the large Métis communities and a growing Inuit community here in Durham. We're committed to learning from Indigenous values and knowledge, building opportunities for collaboration, and recognizing that we're all connected. Mr. Clerk, can I ask you to do a little bit of an introduction on what's happening with your screens and a roll call, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Before we conduct the electronic roll call, I'd just like to draw members' attention to their monitors in the chambers. We are trying something slightly different for today's meeting. Throughout the meeting, you should be able to see the request to speak list active throughout the meeting. If you find this to be a valuable feature, we can continue it for future meetings as well. I'll now conduct an electronic roll call.
Okay, thank you. We have quorum. Declarations of interest. I see none in the room and none online. Okay, thank you. On Monday, January 29th, we celebrated Hospice Awareness Day in Durham Region by raising 3 flags for each of their locations in Durham Region: Clarington, Port Perry, and Whitby. Marigold Hospice Care in Clarington's build is now underway. Tendering is completed and construction contract has been awarded. The anticipated beginning operations in 2025. Fundraising continues for the building and to purchase all the metal equipment and supplies. Oak Ridges Hospice of Durham, which is located in Port Perry, currently serves every community in the region of the municipality of Durham and is currently the only hospice in the region. It was nominated by the Scugog Chamber of Commerce as a finalist for the 2024 Business Excellence Award in the category of Community Engagement. Hospice Whitby, also known as former Chair Roger Anderson's house, will be going to tender shortly and is hoping to celebrate groundbreaking this spring. Hospices provide support and comfort to families facing end-of-life illnesses. They depend on fundraising dollars from community members like us. Also, members of council, tomorrow, February 1st, marks the beginning of Black History Month in Durham Region. Black History Month is a time to recognize the positive impact of Black contributions to the region and to Canada. Tomorrow, Durham Region and its community partners will come together to celebrate Black History Month at the Chestnut Hill Development Recreation Complex in Pickering. This year's theme is Together We Rise Durham, Black History, Intersectionally, and Joy. The evening will include live music performances and a panel discussion. You can learn more at durham.ca/Black History Month. Members of council, I would like someone to move the adoption of the minutes, item 4.14.2, please. Moved by Councillor Chapman, seconded by Councillor Pickles. On both sets of minutes, we'll call the vote. All those in favor? In opposition? Seeing none, that carries. Members of council, today we have a very interesting recognition of some local residents. And I want to recognize the residents for what they did and for the life they saved. And Jim Stanger is in the room with us today. Jim, can you give us a wave? Thank you. Recognition for these individuals who saved the life of Jim Stanger when he collapsed, when he was suffering a cardiac event while jogging at Huber Down Conservation Area in Whitby. The quick response of his friends to provide CPR and a cell phone call to 911, both almost immediately, while others ran for help towards a nearby street, were fortunately they saw a fire truck with the Whitby Fire Service who had been called out on a false alarm. The firefighters used a defibrillator and paramedics were on the scene as Durham Region paramedics attended shortly after the event. Members of council, this is what makes Durham the greatest place in Canada to live, where residents come together in time of need to do really big, bold things, and together they saved the life of Jim. In the audience with us today, I'd like to recognize in person Shelley Dennis Gordon. Shelley, give us a wave. And Nancy McLaughlin. Nope, Nancy's not here. Shelley Edwards. Brenda Bemis. Aranka Mason. Patrick Mead. Bill Woolley. And Lisa Smith. On behalf of council, I want to thank you for what you did on that day. Members of council, if you would, please. Now, if I could have Jim come up to the center of the floor, and could I have Dr. Kyle, and who are you going to bring up with you, Dr. Kyle? Okay, Deputy Chief, would you come up? We would like you to come up when I call your name, and I'd like you to stay, but I've got a little something here to say thank you on behalf of the region for what you did on that day. So Jim, join me in the middle. I'll use my inside voice, the voice I use with my grandkids. Could I ask Bill Woolley to come down? It's okay if you want to come up to the front and take pictures, come inside. It's fine. Thank you, sir. Yes, please. Lisa Smith. Rick McRobert. Chair. Oh, thank you. Patrick Mead. That's okay. Aranka Mason, sorry. Thank you. Shelley Edwards. Shelley Dennis Gordon. Brenda Venus. Okay, members of council again, big round of applause. So we want to take a picture, so we're going to get everybody. Allison, you tell us how to line up. Thank you, everybody. And hold on. One more picture. Come on back. Sorry.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for what you've done. I invite you to stay for the rest of the meeting, but you don't have to. So I will give you an opportunity to grab your coats and leave. But again, thank you for your service. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much. You're welcome. I was supposed to talk, right? Just gonna say one thing. It's amazing. This kid is doing so great. Like it's like a miracle. And he's so alive and well, and it's such a gift to all that know him. So thank you for the. Okay, members of council, we'll continue with item 5.2. Mackenzie Dupont, case coordinator, and Ashley Johns, case coordinator, income, equity, income, employment, homelessness support division, Ontario Works Trustee Youth Program. Good morning, Lisa. Would you like to do an introduction, please?
I would.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Lisa McIntosh. I'm the director in the Income, Employment, and Homelessness Division. And this morning I'm introducing Ashley Johns and Mackenzie Dupont. And they are both case coordinators in our OW program here at the region. And their programs works with a specialized population, and those are our 16 and 17-year-old youth who are clients of the OW program, and they support them. They will be providing you with a presentation that is an overview of their program this morning. So thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Good morning, everyone, and thank you to Regional Council for having us here today to present. My name is Mackenzie Dupont, and this is Ashley Johns, and as Lisa mentioned, we are case coordinators in IEHSD. So before we jump in, I understand there are some members here that already have seen this presentation, so we're going to try and keep things short and sweet today, and I will tell you what I have told them is I do tend to speak quite quickly, so if I'm going too fast, please let me know as we go through the presentation. So today we're going to share with you a program overview of the Trusted Youth Program that we operate through Ontario Works and how we're using that to support and empower Durham youth. So first, I'd like to share some history with you today. So prior to the creation of the program, anybody 16 or 17 years old that was coming in to apply for Ontario Works was doing it in the exact same way as an adult would. So as you can imagine, this was quite an intimidating process for these youth that were coming into our program without the support of their parents and that might recently left the support of their parents at home and not navigating a complex system fitted for adults. So we as service providers had to figure out how we were going to make a shift for Ontario Work service delivery to make it fit for our youth, just so that they weren't going to be falling through the cracks and they would get the support that they needed. So what is the Trusted Youth Program? It was created in 2017, and it is a wraparound service delivery model delivered in partnership with youth-centered community agencies, providing enhanced service delivery to Ontario Works clients under the age of 18. So what does this actually mean in real life? Well, it means that Ashley and I understand that we're not working alone and we're not the experts in everything. So we do work very closely with the community partners that we have in Durham Region to support our youth with their identified needs. Next, we also are very hands-on with these clients. So we are making sure that we're helping them navigate these various community resources and services. So you might have heard terms today like wraparound supports or warm handoffs. And what we mean by that for our program, it could look like going to a dentist appointment with a client, potentially making calls with them, or going to an agency for the first time, because we really have a goal of setting these clients up with a support network that they're going to be comfortable with. Next, we will look at each individual client and meet them where they're at in order to put them in the driver's seat to design what a successful future looks like on their terms. So Ashley and I will see where we fit into that and where we can add value in order to set them up for success and set them up for independence, because they're not going to have Ashley in their lives forever. And finally, it is a specialized caseload, so it means that Ashley and I only hold cases that are 16 and 17 years old, just allowing us to do that more focused and community-based work.
Okay, so we're just going to talk a bit about what is a trusted youth. So what is a youth with a trustee? So we are unable to provide Ontario Works funds to anyone who is under the age of 18. So special circumstances have to exist in order for them to be eligible for our program. So what we will have a conversation with the youth and say, you know, what is happening and what is causing you to not be able to reside at home right now. If there's no safety concerns, we will connect with their parents to get their perspective, and also with any third-party agencies that might know also a little bit about what's going on at home. So they also do need to meet the financial eligibility for Ontario Works. So we will look at their income, their assets, their living situation. They do have to sign all mandatory forms. Everything is the same in terms of your general eligibility. We also do look at their living arrangements. So these youth are coming to us for a reason, which is that they cannot be at home. It's not an ideal place for them. So we will say, okay, where are you staying now? Is this a healthy place, a safe place? Is it better than where you were before? The youth does have to be willing to participate. So anyone in general who's receiving Ontario Works has to be working towards a goal. So we will say, okay, you know, what is the youth goal? Well, it's to go to school. So as long as they are registered in and attending school, they are eligible for our program. We do have good working relationships with the schools in Durham, so we will connect with guidance or administration just to make sure that they are attending. If they're not, we'll have a conversation and say, you know, what are the barriers stopping you from attending, and how can we kind of look at maybe perhaps a different goal? They do have to have regular contact with a responsible adult or community agency. Ideally, that's going to be us or the trustee, which is BGC, formerly known as the Boys and Girls Club. They might have been referred to us from a different agency, so we would like them, you know, to continue working with a support person if they do have one already, but we are available. Some youth we talk to daily, some weekly, some monthly, but for sure we will meet with our youth every 3 months in person just to see how everything's going.
So now, how does this method of service delivery and the shift that we've done impact the youth that we're working with? So first off, we now have streamlined application processes for these youth, so it gets funds in the hands that youth are eligible very quickly. Next is having that immediate connection to that trustee through BGC Durham. So previous to the program, a lot of the times the youth were required to find someone in their own life that they could use as a trustee, which sometimes could pose a barrier to them even applying. So us having that connection with BGC has reduced that barrier. The other piece is that BGC utilizes direct deposit for these youth, so they don't have to manage a paper check, which they used to as well. The next is the piece where we can offer that individualized service planning. So again, we're really making sure that these youth have their own choice and their own voice throughout the duration of the program to identify what their priority needs are. And then Ashley and I will work with them in order to make sure that we're able to help them achieve those goals. Another change is that we don't actually make these youth come into our offices to access service. So Ashley and I can be very flexible in terms of the places that we're going to meet with them. So a lot of the times we are actually meeting these clients in the community in order for them to be more comfortable. And then finally, we have the ability to issue additional benefits to these youth to support them with their participation goals on top of their basic financial assistance. So for us, this could look like things like post-secondary application fees and seat deposits. We've supported with laptops upon graduation and helped them get G1 level licenses as well. We also don't want to see these youth excluded from a typical high school experience if they so choose that. So we can issue things to support with being a part of a school club or a school team, participating on a school trip, or even celebrations such as graduation or prom. Now, the next piece we do want to mention is that in January 1st of this year, Durham Region Ontario Works has gone live with employment services transformation. So this provincial change management decision has created some challenges in terms of funding shifts, but we are actively working creatively both internally and externally with our partners to address any gaps that may have arisen in order to make sure that our youth are still supported, like Ashley and I and the program have been able to do for the period of time that the program has been in place. Now, we've talked a lot already about the fact that we're working very closely with other agencies, so we wanted to share some of the partnerships we have in place in Durham right now. We are very fortunate to work in a place that we have very many resources for youth here, and they're great, so we are happy to have these partnerships in place. So first is BGC Durham, of course, them acting as our trustee, but in their day-to-day roles, they're youth outreach workers and youth justice workers, so they're already very well embedded in the community to support this youth. Next is we regularly collaborate with probation officers and other youth justice members of the community, just because we will have a portion of our youth that intersect with youth justice system. So we want to make sure they're fully supported as well. The third and probably our biggest is the fact that we have the ability to go into secondary schools in Durham Region to support our youth from the high school perspective. So we'll meet our youth there and we'll regularly collaborate with guidance teams, admin teams, social work and teachers just to make sure they have that wraparound support while they're attending high school. Next is that we do offer weekly on-site visits to Joanne's House, which is the youth shelter run by Durham Youth Services in Ajax. And then finally, we'll do regular presentations like this to various community agencies just to provide information of our program. We do want to make sure that we're expanding our networks and building new partnerships wherever we can, because when we create a stronger circle and support for these youth that we're working with, it's better for them in the long run.
So this is just a little picture about the youth that we're currently serving. So in terms of percentages of our overall caseload, 42% is from Oshawa, 7% from Pickering, 8% from Whitby, 17% from Ajax, 20% from Clarington, and 6% from North Durham. So this is always fluctuating. At any given time, we have between 40 to 60 youth each on our caseloads. They do seem to come from all socioeconomic statuses. There's no set thing that's happening there, but we do see some common trends. So struggles with mental health, complex family relationships, social isolation, things like that. They do seem to, so the rates that we offer is up to $733 a month for a single person. So that is actually the amount that is across the board for any adult as well that's receiving Ontario Works. And those rates haven't gone up since 2018.
So we've chatted about a lot of wonderful things we're doing within the program, but sometimes we do have some challenges that come up as well. So we just wanted to address some of those. So first off, right now in Durham Region, we have one youth shelter with limited space, and that's located in Ajax. So if the shelter is full, sometimes the youth would be left to access another shelter that might be fitted for adults or find themselves with nowhere to go. Another piece is that for affordable housing in Durham Region, it's very difficult to find. So as you can imagine, 16 and 17-year-olds don't really have a leg up in that market right now. So it can finding affordable housing quite difficult for this age group. The next is that we don't currently have an agency partnership for the youth in North Durham, so we're still relying heavily on family and natural supports in that area in order to fulfill the role as trustee. We are working, though, in order to establish a partnership with an agency up there to act in the role as trustee, similar to what we have here for BGC. So the next is waitlist for health-related supports. So this is not an area unique to youth, but I felt like it was important to mention because since they're still at that developmental age, it is important that they have access to adequate health care. And another challenge that we're facing is sometimes when youth are leaving home, they're leaving without important documents. So things like birth certificate, immigration documents, social insurance, and health card. So this can prevent them from doing some basic things such as opening a bank account, registering for school, accessing health care, and getting a job. And then finally, we do have some service hubs fitted for adults within the region here to support vulnerable residents, but currently something like that does not exist for youth. So right now, in order to address this gap, Durham Region Social Services is in the early stages of collaborating with other youth-serving agencies in order to decide and determine what creating a youth wellness hub, what that might look like here in Durham.
So we do have challenges, but we also have successes. So education. So a lot of our youth might not have seen getting their OSSD as an option, let alone attending post-secondary school. So last year, we had 27 youth graduate from high school. Of those youth, 17 accepted post-secondary offers, 1 began a trade program, and 9 were supported to enter the workforce. So some pretty good statistics. This June, we have 46 youth that are eligible to get their OSSD in June, which is great. For employment, currently 19% of our caseload is employed, which means they're going to school full-time and also working part-time. So getting that employment experience, having a little bit of extra money every month, so it's super great. Connection to mental health professional wellness supports. So as Mackenzie mentioned, the BGC workers at their core are youth outreach workers, which means that these youth are automatically connected to some form of wellness supports. So, ideally, most youth would have a doctor or a dentist set up by their parents. Well, these youth might not have that opportunity. So we'll help them navigate the healthcare system, make sure they have all those supports. And during the pandemic, we assisted roughly 30% of our caseload to obtain additional mental health supports that were required during that time. So for housing, we did actually be able to assist with the beginning of a by name list that is specifically for youth. So these youth will use the BGC trustee as an access point to be put on this housing list. BGC was also able to set up a Housing First for Youth program, which is funded by regional dollars, to assist youth from this by name list to maintain their housing, and also offers a monthly subsidy to help them with that. And so far, 30 of our youth have been able to access that program. Financial empowerment, so 95% of our youth right now do have active bank accounts, which is great. If they don't, BGC does have a working relationship with Scotiabank, so Scotia will let our trusteed youth go into the bank and open an account with limited ID, which is great. And on the subject of ID, when we first meet with the youth, we'll always say, what do you have? We want to make sure that these youth have their health card, birth certificate, maybe a photo ID, a SIN, anything that's going to make their lives a little bit easier. On the subject of SIN, we were able to work with Service Canada to have them come into one of our high schools and help some of our youth obtain a SIN so they didn't have to go into a Service Canada office. And social inclusion, we just want to make sure, again, like Mackenzie mentioned, we want to make sure these youth can foster some healthy relationships because they are missing those. And once they turn 18, we will not be in their lives anymore. So we want to make sure they have those relationships outside of service providers that they might be working with.
So we did include this slide here, but in the interest of time, we're not going to open the articles and play the videos, but this is just a slide about community feedback about our program. So this is a program that is unique to Durham Region, so we're happy to share that it is being recognized both with our partners in Durham and outside of Durham as a best practice. So you can review those videos and the articles on your own time. They should all be in your packages with the presentation today. And that wraps us up for here today. We do have our contact information shared within the slides as well. So we just want to make sure that everybody is aware of what we're doing in terms of things differently here for Trusteed Youth in Durham, and that we are working to make meaningful change in their lives and end the cycle of poverty at a very young age. So thank you again so much for having us here to present today, and we are happy to take any questions.
Well, thank you. Great presentation. We have a number of councillors that wish to ask questions, starting with Councillor Kerr.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning. And thank you, ladies, for your presentation this morning. I received an email this morning, along with several other regional councillors, from Julie Chartier, who's a youth court access worker youth trustee at Boys and Girls Club Durham. And she said that funding for the bus pass and for cell phone use for at-risk youth of the age group you're talking about has been cut. So 2 questions. First of all, what kind of an impact would you see that having on your, if I may say so, clients, please?
So the loss of those funds can have a significant impact on their clients. That the removal of those funds is being reviewed on a case-by-case basis, and we are seeing both transportation and cell phone supports being rolled back in where they fit. Part of the changes were due to social assistance renewal and employment services transformation, which are both large-scale provincial modernization policies that have been rolled out over the last few years. This year, January 1st was our implementation, and like all provincial rollouts, the guidelines are very complex, and there are shifts in where we're allowed to apply funding for, and also changes in how we're funded for specific programs. So Ashley and Mackenzie are currently going through each client's file and looking at where the appropriate funding can come from to support students. With the transportation fees, if they do not have yellow bus service to get to school, or if they need that for their part-time employment, as well as cell phone costs where they're appropriate, and we can line them up as well. It is one of the challenges of working under complex guidelines to support vulnerable people, but the team has been up for the challenge and really working through each individual youth's needs and meeting them where they're at. So that will be a shift we will see in the coming months.
Thank you. So this isn't an across-the-board funding piece. This is a case-by-case funding piece?
So the funding for what we used to call education and employment supports through the Ontario Works program has shifted under Employment Services Transformation, but that doesn't mean that there aren't supports that we can offer within mandatory benefits and other areas, but that does mean a review for each student's file, each client right across the OW programs file for how we're working with them in complex and intense case management to support them to stabilize.
Thank you. So can we hope that no client gets left behind and that everybody gets the supports that they need to move ahead in life?
That is the goal and the commitment of Durham's team, and we definitely go out and, as Ashley and Mackenzie demonstrated, meet the students where they are and support them in ways that in many cases a family would to get through schooling. So if there are ways we can offer those supports, they will get them. It's just navigating this change now in the initial couple of months of massive change here in Durham.
So is there a need to roll this back with the help of provincial members of parliament, or is this something that just in fact is and that we can surmount with individual efforts to make sure that each student and each youth is taken care of?
So social assistance, the social assistance renewal and employment services transformation began to roll out and was announced back in 2018, 2019. And they are still going through processes of transformation. One of the areas of the work that we do is the system manager for the employment system. So we are in a unique situation where we get to look at the resources on both sides of social assistance renewal and employment services transformation. So at this point, we are really making best efforts to lean into that those provincial changes and to ensure that our clients are employment ready as early as possible.
Thank you very much. That answers my questions, and thanks for all you do for our youth. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Marion Pietri.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning, everyone. Lisa, and to the, I think it's important that the presentation be recognized in terms of data as well. You showed some really interesting percentages across the board. I won't name the municipalities that have more or less, but I just wanted to ask through you, Mr. Chair, to you and your staff, when you're, providing the services that you're providing to youth, and it seems like in some municipalities, it's a little bit more of a need in terms of resources than others. Is that because the services in those municipalities are more readily available, or is it because the population in those municipalities has more of a need? I'm just trying to get clarity on the pie chart that you provided in the presentation.
So through the chair, demographics are always confounded with many variables. Definitely Oshawa will see a larger percent of youth served based on their population comparative to other locations alone. And then also if there is a need, our Oshawa area for OW, that coverage area is vast. So that's the demographic we're looking at, is the background with postal codes. So the other piece around this program is important to know. We're looking at 80 to 120 individuals at any given time, so a small subset of population. And so demographics can flow. What we're looking at today is the 42% in Oshawa and 7% in Pickering. With a number that small, a few intake appointments from one municipality could again divide the pie chart differently. So we are always monitoring that. There are services offered pretty much, I think, across the 401 corridor very equally. BGC offers the trustee program to all of the communities in the south. When we go into the north, Ashley and Mackenzie work closer with the students in the north to ensure that their trustee relationship is solid, and it is a supportive one that fits them, because in the north they haven't had the opportunity to set that up with a community agency. Again, partially because the numbers are much lower. When we're looking at community agencies in the north, the service delivery would be lower. And when we're talking 6% across the north, we're looking Port Perry, Uxbridge, Beaverton. So it is a vast geography for one agency to cover.
Through you, Mr. Chair, to the director, to Ashley, to Mackenzie, your staff. I know a number of the staff members there. I know how responsive and how caring you are. Want to thank you very much for the service you provide the youth. I know the need, you know, as you've indicated, may vary from one municipality to the other, but it's rather consistent and responsive. So I want to thank you through the chair.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Nicholson.
Yeah, thank you. Just a couple of procedural questions just off the top. Your section is employed by Durham Region?
So they're part of the OW team. So our
Or lack of
Ontario Works provincial program.
Yeah, I want to be, but who makes the rules that you have to operate under? Is that the province or Durham Region?
So we operate under the Ontario Works Act. So there is legislation and there are provincial guidelines that set the tone. And then we work within that to offer individuals in Durham the best service possible, meeting those rules, but doing it uniquely for Durham.
So you try to manage the chaos caused by the provincial social services department.
Yes.
Good. Just want to be clear on that. I don't want everyone to be critical of hardworking staff, and I want to preface my comment by saying you guys do a tremendous job with the very limited resources you're given. It's a crime in this province that anybody is asked to live on $733. Now we're taking away their phones. Now we're taking away their bus passes. I can tell you the guys down on 555 Yonge, they don't have any problems getting access to their jobs or their salaries or their phones or their lunches. But the people that are on the receiving end, I use the line that I hear many times from people on the street, Ontario Works, everybody left behind. Because the
Councillor, I absolutely agree with the direction, but there has to be a question.
well, I agree, and I was going to get to the question,
Okay.
which is, are there any steps that this council can take to follow up on both Councillor Kerr and Councillor Medry, either by resolution or by action, where we can approach the provincial government to get their heads out of the ground and actually see the reality on the streets and start providing needed and necessary help for the people in our community, especially for our youngest, 16 to 17 years old?
Council's support and advocacy towards offering people who are on social assistance fair and stable, both financial and human services supports, would be very helpful in letting the province understand the needs that we're seeing here in Durham and that are mirrored across the province.
Okay. One thing that was raised previously, and it wasn't brought forward, and is in our transit system. We now provide free transit for those 12 and under. It's been suggested many times over many decades that people who are trying to find work or trying to subsist on Ontario Works or on ODSP, that they should not be charged for transit because they're trying to access doctors, they're trying to access to get food, they're trying to, in this case, kids are trying to go to school. You know, the lack of transit, and if there's no bus passes being handed out, is that something that we should be pursuing at the Durham level of giving a specific core group a free or very inexpensive access to our transit systems so that we can actually assist getting people off Ontario Works?
So through the chair, transportation is very important as a basic need for many individuals we work with. We are currently working with the resources that we have to try to offer an equitable support. If we're looking at a broader financial impact, then that would need to go back to transit, to our transit department, as well as our finance department, to look at that through a budgeting and our full process.
Let me throw the hypothetical then. If Durham Transit and this council decided that we were going to take to initially your core group of 16 to 17-year-olds, we're going to provide free bus access across Durham to them. Would that give you some respite to use your limited funds to provide other services and support that you now are being forced to use to support transportation?
So that would cover the 80 students who are 16 and 17-year-olds who are in our Trusteed Youth Program. It wouldn't cover all of the high school students that are on our OW caseloads currently, who are also looking at how transportation works on their family social assistance incomes. So it is a big issue related to budgeting and financial pressures. So that one would be going back to transit and finance overall.
Just so I understand the number, you said there's 80 in your program, 80 to 120. How many overall 16 and 17-year-olds would be in your Ontario Works program in need of support?
I don't have that number on me today. We could look and get back to you on that. If you are, from what I've heard right now, we're covering cost of transport for kids 12 and under. So if we were looking at social assistance clients 12 and over to the age of 18, we can get those numbers.
All right, appreciate that. Thank you for your answers.
Mayor Foster?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to follow on with some questions where Councillor Nicholson was going. If you had to guess how many kids, so you're talking about 80 kids, in this program, but if you're looking at the OW, sort of that full portfolio, how many would you guess? I'm not going to hold you to it.
I don't actually think I can guess at that number. I can tell you that we are approximately 9,000 cases on caseload. So
Okay.
client units, but that number of children in each household, drilling down those numbers, we would need to get you those numbers and bring them back.
So the question, I think you gave me the answer anyway, the question that I would have on that would be when we look at an actual cost of reinstating these things, sometimes we get caught away with the concept as opposed to the dollar amount. For the 80, it's an insignificant amount of money, more broadly, differently. Councillor Mayor Pietri was kind enough not to highlight municipalities that have a larger piece on the chart. Oshawa, the biggest, but I would suspect by per capita, Clarington sticks out. Are the local municipalities, doing enough? Is there more that we can do? And the offer is, if the answer to that is perhaps, can you reach out to us to see what we can do locally to provide additional services?
We do partner, through the chair, sorry, we do partner locally. So for recreation programs, for many of your services, the team will reach out to individual local municipalities and have those conversations. We've been doing that in all areas of the portfolio around warming centers and needs. It's important to remember that the 16 and 17-year-old OW clients could potentially then be 18-year-old OW clients when they move up into our REACH, which is another portfolio. In our youth portfolio, supporting the 18 to 24s a little differently, but still with some additional supports. We are looking at how employment services transformation and social assistance renewal can be applied to allow for equity and still get people the services they need.
Yeah, so I think the offer there is reach out to us. Certainly the chambers and boards, chambers of commerce, boards of trades and trustees, if you need help with that. Mr. Chair, just as a quick, so the whole ODSP, OW thing, $1 in 2018 is about $1.22 today. So if you can imagine a hit in excess of 20%, and in 2018, the amounts were so inadequate then. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Shahid, you were on the list and you dropped off. If you push your button again, please.
Thank you so much, Chair Henry. I just have a simple question on the numbers pre-COVID and post, and if there is an uptick in the mental health of these youth.
So through the chair, Ashley and Mackenzie, when they present it at Health and Social Services, that video is available online, but they did speak to the fact that they did connect. I think it was 30% of the youth on their caseload were connected to mental health and wellness supports throughout the pandemic. They did stay connected to their youth caseloads and did support the youth, knowing the pressures that all youth were facing during the pandemic. So offering that support and that adult support that they may need. So that was definitely something that was taken care of and continues to be. So Ashley and Mackenzie will meet with the social workers at the school, and as they shared, connect youth even by attending first appointments to health service providers, including mental health services.
Thank you. So the service is readily available. There's no backlog, or they don't have to wait too long if they're in need.
So the youth that we're servicing in this program would face the same wait list for certain programs that all 16 and 17-year-olds would. We do obviously leverage and lean into the services that are available in schools, as well as our family services division.
Thank you. And then my first question I'll ask again, the uptick in numbers of youth that you are helping prior 4 years ago and now, is there a larger number or it's steady?
It's the same, right? Yeah. It's quite steady.
Okay.
That hasn't changed.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate your hard work. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wu.
Yeah, and thank you, Chair Henry, and thank you, Lisa, and Mackenzie and Ashley. And on the slide it says ongoing one-on-one support, and you're covering the whole region. How many caseworkers are there that are dealing with the youth?
Ashley, through the chair, Ashley and Mackenzie are the two case coordinators that service the Trusteed Youth Program. It's an OW program. We call it the Trusteed Youth Program because they are those 16 and 17-year-olds. And the standard caseload for our OW case workers or case coordinators is higher. They have a reduced caseload, so they can go up between the two of them up to about 125 students. And so right now their caseload is 82 between the two, so about 41 students each.
Right. And in order to engage the youth, just curious, your hours, it's just not an 8 to 4 job, is it?
Sure.
So absolutely, it like we are working 8 to 4. However, when we were talking about all the different supports that were available, our goal really throughout the program is setting them up for support so that, you know, the needs that come up on a Saturday at 11 o'clock at night, that they have their resources and supports to go to until we're able to come back into the picture Monday morning. Ashley and I both have cell phones that we're able to connect with them that way as well. We don't respond outside of our hours, but they know that they can message us at any time. And then once we're back within our hours, we're able to respond. And Ashley and I are very good at getting back to them as soon as possible, knowing that a lot of the times when youth come with us with a question, they're all a crisis. So we do want to make sure that we're getting to them as soon as possible. But yes, we're definitely supporting them throughout different agencies in the community and even their own personal connections to make sure they have that support even when we're not around.
Well, I appreciate that because you mentioned crisis or distress. And when somebody's in distress, I don't think they can wait till you come back in. And it had been mentioned about the, I got that here somewhere. Was it $733? Basic needs would be out of that $343 and rent $330. Where do you find a place for $330? I don't, you can't get a hotel room for one day for that amount of money in some places. And this has been stuck since, or hasn't been an increase in 2018. Now, is that pretty well around the province?
So that rate is the provincial Ontario Works social assistance rate across the province. $733, the majority of that ends up being used to support the housing cost if you can find it under $733. And in some cases, we have been able to work with our housing and homelessness teams to offer some rent supplements to individuals. But again, those are limited within the system.
Okay. Thank you very much for that. Certainly, there's a crisis here, and I think whatever we can do to support you, thank you for your presentation.
Okay, so that exhausts the list of questions and speakers. So thank you very much for your excellent presentation this morning.
Thank you.
Members of council, we have no delegations. We'll start with 7.1. It's located on page 60 of your agenda, a memorandum from Adnan Needham, solicitor, to designate certain road widenings. The recommendation is to receive for information. A move, Mayor Foster, are you moving this?
7.1 through 7.3.
To move as directed?
Yes.
Okay, seconded by Councillor Chapman. Are there polls? Online? Mr. Clerk? Seeing none, then we'll vote on 7.1 to 7.3 as recommended. All those in favor? In opposition? Seeing none, that carries. Reports related to delegations, there are none. Mr. Clerk, can you hand me the sheets, please? Thank you. Okay, members of council, moved by, we'll need to have Councillor Dyes. Is Mayor Roy online?
She is online. Her camera's currently off.
Okay, Mayor Roy, could you turn your camera on? Okay, thank you. So moved by Mayor Roy, seconded by Councillor Dyes, that recommendations contained in item 1 of Report 1 in Health and Social Services be adopted. Okay, it's moved. It's on the floor. Questions or comments? Seeing none, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? In opposition? Seeing none, that carries. We'll move on to Planning and Economic Development Committee. Moved by Councillor Chapman, seconded by Councillor Pickles, that recommendations in items 1 to 8 inclusive of report number 1 of the Planning and Economic Development Committee be adopted. Polls. Mr. Clerk, I see none in the room, none online. Then we'll call the vote. All those in favor? In opposition? Seeing none, that carries. We'll move on to a Works Committee report. Moved by Mayor Barton, seconded by Councillor Marin Pietri, that the recommendations contained in items 1 and 2, inclusive of report number 1 of the Works Committee, be adopted. Polls. Online, Mr. Clerk? Okay. Oh, Councillor Brenner?
I do have a question that I did submit, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, then I will come back to you in a second, but we're on this item. So seeing no polls, we'll call the vote. All those in favor? In opposition? Seeing none? Questions? We'll do them now. Okay, Councillor Brenner?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I did submit a question, and it was a communication that had come from the Minister of Infrastructure. And it was regarding a infrastructure grant that would be or could be made available to municipalities where water quality or their water services would in fact be impacted as a result of growth. And I felt in looking at it that is that something that the region could consider through our Works and Finance, because we've had many discussions, and most recently when we talked about the increase in the cost in particular to the user services for water and sanitary. And we heard that the growth is going to drive that up, and that would be complicated by some of the provincial policy. So if this is an opportunity, Mr. Chairman, that we might be able to seek some funds to help to offset the cost of growth, which is directly going to impact, and I use Seton Phase 2 as an example where we need the pumping stations and that infrastructure. So I put before you and to our Works Commissioner that question, and if so, it is tight timelines, very tight timelines, but could be something worth pursuing to help reduce the impact of growth on the taxpayers of Durham Region.
Commissioner Jagnathan?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, yes, I can confirm we are in discussions with the Finance Commissioner to make an application, keeping in mind the project has to be shovel-ready. Construction has to start before September and be completed by March 2027. That narrows down the projects that we can submit for, but we will find the right ones.
Excellent, and I think that's going to certainly help our Phase 2 in Seton and Pickering, and I'm sure other parts of Durham Region, and I think could have an impact to help the user pays to avoid the inevitable without it. Thank you so much, and thank you, Commissioner.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to Committee of the Whole. I'll need a mover and a seconder on the report. Moved by Councillor Chapman, seconded by Councillor Nicholson. The recommendations contained in items 1 to 6, inclusive of report number 1 of the Committee of the Whole, be adopted. Polls. Mr. Clerk, I see none in the room, none on my screen, none online. Okay, on the recommendations, we'll call the vote. All those in favor? In opposition? Seeing none, that carries. Members of Council, we have no departmental reports or other resolutions. On page 78 of your agenda, there is a resolution or a motion, and I will go to Councillor Mulcahy. You've moved this, and Councillor Shahid, you've seconded this. Mr. Clerk, do we need to read this into the record?
No, it's part of the agenda package.
So as part of the agenda package, no need to read it into the record, but Councillor Mulcahy, if you'd like to say a few words, please go ahead.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair. This is with regards to the tolls on the 407 through Durham Region. I know our staff have been working with the MTO and have made this request to remove the tolls temporarily during the reconstruction of Winchester Road. For those of you who may be aware, we're building a mid-block road, which will take some of the pressure off in the municipality of Whitby, but it is yet being held up by the MTO. And further to this, we will be closing parts of Columbus Road. So as you can imagine, we have some traffic woes ahead of us, and we're really hoping that the province will listen to us and give us a hand. So I would thank you all for your support on this. Thanks.
Thank you. While you're not on my speakers list as a seconder, Councillor Shahid, did you want to say something?
Thank you, Chair Henry. I'm just going to echo Councillor Mackay's comments. We need it, and I hope the province is listening to help us with this temporary help, and this is the only route that they could take when the construction starts. It's going to be a huge issue for people who are going towards the north part of Whitby, Brooklyn, Ashburn. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next is Councillor Nicholson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I will wholeheartedly support my two colleagues from Whitby to do this. I was sorely tempted to make one wording amendment, to take out the word temporarily and add the word permanently. That would be a step in the right direction. But the question, I guess, is, and I don't know who can answer. Sorry? They did it before. Yeah. Be nice if they did it all across the 407 and bought it back from Spain as well. But the point I was trying to raise here is, rather than having councillors having to come in or mayors having to come in and move these temporary motions, is there a way to include in our policy booklet almost an automatic request that goes in when there are specific impacting projects that are reducing capacity to both the 407 and to other areas in the community? We're going through the same thing at 401 in Oshawa. If there's a way to screw up a project, MTO will find a way to do it. They're experts at it. They're even building bridges that nobody needs. I mean, they're really good. And I'm not talking about Simcoe, I'm talking about Albert. It doesn't go anywhere, it doesn't take any traffic, but they're going to replace it for $8.5 million. So my concern is, rather than us going cap in hand and being behind the schedule, is there a way that we can include as a policy that when staff identify some of these choke points that are occurred in construction projects like we're having in Brooklyn, that the request is almost automatic, as opposed to having to come to council and have a 2-month delay in the process?
Mr. Clerk, is there a way as of right of council to make a decision Councillor Nicholson, personally, I think it's important that the council of the day sends that message to the province. But I don't know if there's a process.
Not particularly. I think we would need some direction to that effect, and probably better to deal with on a case-by-case basis.
So after conferring with the clerk, and I actually agree, it's probably better to deal with it on a case-by-case basis so that we can have, hopefully, I'll call at the appropriate time a recorded vote on this item that sends a message of substance, but dealing with each individual issue.
Well, hopefully it is a unanimous vote here today. And perhaps we can send it to our lobbyists as well, so that they can maybe raise it in a meeting that, you know, they've got to do better way of coordinating with local municipalities when they do their projects.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Okay, the staff will take it as direction. And Councillor Nicholson, you're finished?
I'm done, thank you.
Okay. We'll go to Mayor Foster next, please.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. I heard from Councillor Mulcahy traffic woes, and who would have thought that there'd be traffic woes in the GTA? It's shocking. Just a very quick question, and it's a bit of a tangent, but as we are asking for this motion and the next motion, and we've heard time and time again that, you know, we send these requests, we send motions, and they go into a black hole of something. Will the clerk be keeping us updated in terms of a response or lack thereof?
Yes.
Okay, and I'll chat with the clerk later on about an idea that Clarington is coming up with, and that will be automatic updates that could be made publicly in terms of requests that have been made, and after X number of months, have we heard, have we not heard? I have a prediction as to what that chart is going to look like. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Just one question I'm just going to ask the clerk. If we included in this motion that we will publish your response, that's something we normally do.
We don't necessarily publish the responses when we get them, but we can make a practice of it. Do you want to include that as part of the motion? That I think we can take that as direction. Yeah.
So, members of council, I'm gonna actually give staff direction with your due diligence that that the response we get from our MPs be tracked and reported back to council. And the staff will take that as simple direction on this motion. But I think general practice from now on, Mr. Clerk, when we write levels of government all of the time, could we start to track the responses back to your office? I'll do the same within my office, and the CAO can do the same. And we'll make sure that council is aware of who is listening to us and the responses we get. And that staff will take that as direction. Okay, we'll move on. Councillor Miriam Pietri.
So, Mr. Chair, I support the notice of motion. I think it's intelligent. It spans the region of Durham's, traffic interests, and I think it's important for us to recognize that, whether it's this motion or others, that we try our best to be ahead of the curve in trying to resolve issues before they occur. In this particular case, we're at the mercy of the province, as we often are. In other cases, maybe the federal government. So I just wanted to point out probably an obvious, timing, the impact on the infrastructure that we're trying to build there. These conversations tend to have sort of like a one-way street where we, do our best to gauge the public and, try to get ahead of the issue and communicate with whatever body of government. And in return, I think you noted, and that's what I wanted to seek, an understanding of, what the responses have been in the past. And it doesn't matter what the political party or the stripe was. It's just important for us, because I'll tell you what's going to happen. We're going to move this motion. It's going to be unanimous, and then people are going to expect that it happens. And then when it doesn't, we're still going to be on the hook for the issues that are going to be impacting that corridor in the interim of the infrastructure being built. So there has to be some level of reality in how we're going to be able to afford ourselves this opportunity. Is it even realistic that this happens? If it is, I applaud it. If it's not, we have to be early on in the communication through this council chamber to advise either through committee or at council that the responses have been negative, that we're not going to get the support, and that this is going to be a serious issue, and then transitioning to what we're going to do when it becomes an issue. Because Highway 7, not many people can, take 407 because of the cost. Highway 7 is going to then impact other arterial roads, because they'll move off of 7 and go on to other concessions, or maybe head all the way down to the 401, and then you'll have the spines, the Class A arterial roads, impacted. Some will say maybe you should just take public transit, but the reality is that we don't have that infrastructure either, not to the tune of where we want it to be. So far, Mr. Chair, we've been very creative in trying to ensure that Metrolinx gets our stations built by working with the development community. We're trying to make sure that infrastructure gets built by suggesting other avenues to be able to relieve the traffic from. But my question, and this is just for us as a whole, is when we're in a situation like this and it doesn't actually end up being something that we get the support for from other levels of government, what then is our fallback or plan B? That's what we have to think of now before we get those responses, because I'm not so certain that we're going to get the support that we need. And it's not a question of politics, it's a question of economics. How long is that road work going to happen for? How long is the provincial government willing to forego those revenues? And how long is it going to take for us to actually get that response? So plan B, I just want to put in our minds, needs to happen, whether it's through works or whether it's through another avenue. We need to figure that out, because it's going to be a mess.
Thank you. Councillor Brenner? Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Sorry, 1 second, please. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wholeheartedly will be supporting. As a matter of fact, the correspondence came and has been sent to the City of Pickering. I've asked for it to be put on our next council agenda to endorse it from the City of Pickering as well. And as we've heard, this is far-reaching, because the starting point for the 407 going eastbound is in the City of Pickering. And there is no question that we already face serious gridlock along Highway 7. We face serious gridlock on Taunton. and we have serious problems because of that. And that negatively impacts our ability to be able to market when it comes to economic development and attracting businesses to us. So we will be supporting it. I'm supporting it today, and I'm sure when it gets to Pickering Council, we will be supporting it because what happens in one municipality impacts all municipalities.
Thank you. Councillor Crawford?
My question is more around what Mayor Foster was talking about. Do you want me to wait? It's not really directly at this motion.
Sorry, can you rephrase that, please?
So my question, I'll just say it, you can tell me not to say it if you want.
No, that's fine.
is around when we send our motions to the MPPs or MPs, and then there's a change and a shuffle. So we've sent a number of motions to MPP Clark, and then we had a change. What happens to those motions? Do they end up going into a desk that never exists? Do we have to send them again? Like, how do we, like, this happens all the time through government, right?
So when ministers change at either level of government, the staff still have that information has gone to them. So hopefully.
So we assume.
We make the assumption that the staff that work in the organization would advise the new minister of all issues related to information that he's received over the period of time that he was in his space.
Well, I know I keep reminding him, but I don't get any answers on anything. So anyway, thank you. Not really related to the motion.
No, that's okay. Interesting question, though. That exhausts the list. Mr. Clerk, I called for the recorded vote. So when you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Recorded vote on the motion is starting now. Looking for Mayor Collier connected remotely. Second call for Mayor Collier. Thank you.
Okay. Unanimous by all members present, I think. Just check. Unanimous by all members present. We'll move on to the second notice of motion. Councillor Mulcahy has moved it, seconded by Councillor Crawford. A motion requesting the province to commit to an undertaking with the Association of Municipalities of Ontario Comprehensive Social and Economic Prosperity Review to promote stability, sustainability of municipal finances across Ontario. Councillor Mulcahy, as our rep on AMO, and moving this, would you like to speak to it, please? Sorry.
Thank you, Chair Henry. Yeah, this is something that I'm hoping that everybody takes back to their local municipalities and sends endorsements in on as well. It's become very clear that there is a gap in Ontario compared to other provinces. And I think we have probably one of the best people on our staff to speak to this would be Nancy, who has been instrumental at AMO in helping this along. So I'm wondering if she would like to have the floor at some point to speak about this.
Okay. So, Ms. Taylor, did you want to speak? This is a recommendation that has come from AMO. Did you want to speak to it?
So through the chair, as Councillor Mulcahy referenced, finance has been quite involved with the Ontario Regional Single Tier Treasurers, a subset of them, in helping AMO drive through some of the numbers and analysis here to support what's been going on. So we did prepare a lot of work for them, and some of those, the select group, they've extrapolated that information in order to support AMO's pre-budget submission. But as well, Finance and Admin Committee here has also asked for us to take a look at how we are funding provincial services. So this resolution came from that work through AMO that we've supported, and the request is to try to get as many municipalities as possible to pass this resolution so that it shows a huge body of support for AMO's efforts. And I would also encourage you, a lot of the details are also, AMO just released their pre-budget submission, and as well as a link to the presentation. And both of those documents are a very, very good read. So I would recommend, and particularly if you're going to the local, that might also help with the background information for them to help support with your with the recommendation going forward.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I continue?
Councilman Kahi?
If I may, thank you. Last week, we had the Minister of Municipal Affairs at the AMO meeting. So he actually found our building and actually was there. So it's comforting to know that they're actually aware we exist now. So with the endorsement from municipalities across the province, we're hoping that this has a larger impact. We have been receiving probably 10, 12 as of last week, but recognizing the council cycles are all coming through now. So Durham Region, and I know that most of the regions and municipalities across the province are taking this back and sending it back through AMO to the ministry. So thank you so much, and I hope that we can have a recorded vote that's unanimous on this one as well. Thank you.
Thank you. As the seconder, Councillor Crawford.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just that Ajax passed this on Monday. I think Whitby's already has passed it, Rhonda. And I think it's going to Big City Mayors, Ontario Big City Mayors this month for passing. So it is picking up momentum, and we just hope that all municipalities will take this on.
Yeah, and thank you. And I also want to recognize that you do sit on the AMO board as well.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. First in the request box is Councillor Nicholson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Obviously, I hope this is going to be unanimous. We've beaten this horse constantly for years and years, and we've been treated like we're just a fly on the wall by various governments, not just the current one, although more so with the current one. But I did want to relay a story, and I think it's really relevant to this. I was on the phone with a constituent who was expressing some concerns about taxing levels and having trouble to pay. And as he was on the phone with me, his family was watching the movie Oliver on their TV set. And just at the same time, as he was talking to me, all of a sudden the section of the movie came up where Fagin and the Artful Dodger were teaching all the boys how to pickpocket. And the song Pick a Pocket or Two came up. And he said to me, he said, I think they're showing the Ontario Cabinet meeting. You know, and I thought, what an appropriate comment from people saying it's enough is enough. It's not just municipalities, it's hospitals, it's policing, it's mental health, it's housing. When the priority of a provincial government is to make their budget look good at the expense of the people they're required to serve, they've lost their mandate to serve. They have a couple of years to recover that. And I hope that they will take AMO seriously. I hope they will understand that this is not the annual or biannual complaining from municipalities about not enough money. We use the word that this is a crisis, but it's not an economic crisis. It's a political crisis. This crisis was formed, created, and proposed by the provincial government, and in some ways by the provincial government as well. This is a man-made, created crisis, and it is up to our elected representatives at all levels, including here, to recognize that the days of taxing people till they bleed are over. So this motion goes a long way, and I'll put my card on the table. Hope we just don't send a letter. Hope we follow some of the mandates that are being suggested by AMO when we do our budget in a few weeks, and lead the way and show that we just can't keep taxing until people bleed. Thank you.
Councillor Brenner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We too did receive this correspondence in the city of Pickering, and I'm very pleased to say that with only one dissenting vote, all other members of council did endorse this and did take a position that we feel that a collaborative approach is definitely needed through AMO with a strong, powerful voice to be able to try and insert some reasoning into the current policies of the province of Ontario, and while it may not be intended, it is certainly damaging economic prosperity in all municipalities, especially us in the GTHA.
So I wasn't the one.
Mr. Mayor, I know you tried your best to get that dissenting vote, but just couldn't do it. And I was not the dissenting vote. It was one city councillor, but it was not Councillor Nagy, and it was not Councillor, and it was also not Councillor Butt. I'm not naming anybody.
Okay, thank you. We're all back into the meeting now. Councillor Chapman.
Yeah, just one small point, and it may go without saying, we're going to send it to our MPPs and the local municipalities. Should we also not send a copy to AMO to let them know that we are endorsing this? Thank you.
I'm going to look to the mover and seconder to take it as a friendly. Mr. Clerk, if you can include that in the motion then, please. Seeing no other members in the request box or online, I'll call the vote. All those in favor? Oh, it's a recorded vote. I apologize.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Recorded vote on the motion is starting now.
That carries unanimously by all members present. There is no unfinished business. Now, announcements. I'm sorry, I'm going to put a couple members of council on the spot, but I understand there's a significant announcement related to an anniversary in Oshawa, Councillor Chapman.
Don't you know?
Well, that's not what I was going to say first, but you're right. This year, for those folks who didn't know, on the 8th of March, 1924, the Oshawa officially became a city, the city of Oshawa. And we do have a celebration, lots of celebratory events all year. But on the 8th of March, there is an actual celebration to honor the day that we did become a city. And we're having an event at the Region Theatre. And there will be invitations sent out to, I think, 8 million people or whatever it is. Anyway, it's a long list. If you're available to come there or drop into some of our other things that are going to happen throughout the year that I'm sure members of Oshawa Council will announce as we get close to those events. I can tell you about today's celebration. Did you know that on January 1st, 1974, when we became the region of Durham, I commanded a guard of honor to recognize that from the regiment? On that day. It was some cold, I'll tell you, on January 1st. And I just thought I would bring that up. And on the 8th of March, 1924, the major celebrations were at the Ontario Regiment Armory because it was the biggest building in the city at the time, I guess, or one of them. Is that enough, Mr. Chair? Is that good?
That's excellent.
Okay, now can I make my personal announcement?
Yes.
So again, this year we have the Coldest Night of the Year walk. It's on the 24th of February. I'm supporting the Refuge again. Last year I raised not just under $3,000. My goal this year is $4,000. I'm just under $2,000 right now. I thank those members of council that did donate to it last year. Muchly appreciated. The money from my part of the walk goes to the Refuge in Oshawa, which supports youth, homeless youth, and youth at risk. So if you want to donate, the easiest way is to go on CNOY 2024, pump in the name Oshawa. It'll take you to the list of walkers. I'm sure you all know what my name is, and donate as much as you want. There's no limit on how much you guys can donate. For those of you from the north, if you want to donate, you can go on and type in Uxbridge, and North House in Oshawa or in Uxbridge is doing the same thing. They do some of the same things as the Refuge did. So those that want to donate to North House, and matter of fact, just so you know, Mayor Barton, I do also donate to North House on this walk. But I would much appreciate any support that any members of council could give me. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Marion Pietri.
Chair, today was a really special day for the region of Durham. I think we all recognize the flag raising, the 50th anniversary. But how the region came to be is something that I think is shared with families that had family members that were employed by the region. I know that there are a number of regional employees here today from our front lines that I want to recognize up in the audience, as well as those who are in the office working to continue the legacy of service that's been provided to not only through EMS and police, but especially through the front lines and the folks that are providing services to people in need. I think the region of Durham has been a huge asset to the country, and recognizing I was able to work both as an employee and as a counselor now, and family members who proudly served, and I say served because they took it seriously, and I know that the folks that work for the region of Durham continue to take seriously the service they provide to the community. Oftentimes we forget how the actual service came to be, and I was sitting around the table last night just speaking to my father, who worked here for a very long time, about how it first started. He came over from the OPUC, which was the Oshawa Public Utilities, and helped to form the region in 1974. And one of the more interesting stories were the equipment pieces that were, and it was pieces. You'd have trucks that were different colors. I believe that you had green trucks in Ajax, you had some white trucks from the OPUC, yellow trucks from Oshawa. Northern Municipality had different color yellow trucks. I believe Whippy had red trucks. I'm not sure what Pickering had because we were there. They must have been electrified way back then as well, because I know that OPG was already up and running, I think being built in 1970. But all kidding aside, they used to call it the United Nations just for the sake of all of the equipment that was really pieced together from different municipalities. And now, what you see on the roads today and what you see in the building is a testament to the kind of work, the effort that everyone has put in, from the front lines to the offices to the individuals that serve at this council, to make sure that we're as professional and as responsive as possible. So 50 years, it doesn't seem like a long time when you consider Oshawa's 100th anniversary this year. But then when you consider, the contribution made by institutions that predate all of these, organizations, we understand that they're all built by people and they're built for people. So on behalf of Oshawa residents and Durham Region residents, and especially those who work and serve through the region of Durham, Canada is a better place because of it. And I appreciate the ability to be able to make that announcement because it's one that's important. We often don't recognize those who are providing services in our community and where they come from. Today we do that, and we have a 50-year reputation to uphold and transcend. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Lee.
Thank you, Chair. Starting tomorrow is the beginning of Black History Month. If you go to ajax.ca/BHM, you'll see, I think there's about 8 events we'll be having throughout the town. But more importantly, tomorrow from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m., we have Together We Rise Durham, Black History, Intersectionality, and Joy. It'll be a fantastic celebration. Thank you for the City of Pickering for hosting the various municipalities. It'll be at the Chestnut Hill Developments from 6 to 8 p.m. We hope to see everybody there. It'll be a fantastic evening of music, arts, dance, and a fantastic panel discussion. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Mulcahy.
Thank you, Chair. I just would like to let all members of Regional Council be aware to watch their AMO invitations. Riley Brockerton, who is the chair of our caucus and the Deputy Mayor of Ottawa, has arranged a regional and single-tier caucus meeting online for all members. So keep your eyes open for it. It will be Friday, February 23rd from 9:30 to 11. We'll be going over all sorts of great information, policy, LAS, organizational structure, and the modernization of AMO. So pay attention. It's coming soon. Thanks.
Thank you.
Is it already on the registration? It opens on Monday. Okay. Thank you.
Councillor Jubb.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to take this opportunity to invite everybody this coming Saturday, the 3rd of February, to the Beaverton Lions annual Winter Carnival. And it starts with pancake breakfast at 8 a.m. and it ends with live music at the Beaverton Curling Club from 2 to 4. And any regional councillors, first drinks on me from 2 to 4. Thank you.
Councillor Jubb, where is the pancake breakfast taking place?
Sorry.
Push it again. Wait a second, don't touch it. The clerk will turn on. There you go.
The pancake breakfast at the Foster Hewitt Community Center, so the Beaverton Arena.
In the Beaverton.
Yeah, all events will be in the fairgrounds.
Got it, thank you. Next, an exciting announcement, I hope. I attended yesterday. Mayor Ash, would you like to, if that's not what you're talking about, could you talk about that as well?
I actually had two items. That was one of them, but I'll start with the 50 years. There's a picture of the first council on the wall back there, and you should take a quick look at it and see how the ladies were dressed at the ball where they celebrated the first council. But my dad's in that picture, and I know it sounds kind of corny, but I kind of think he looks over me. And I'm very proud of that fact that he was on the first council and also the first chair of finance. So 50 years later, I have those same responsibilities. The regional council building back then is where our garage is now. The regional courthouse was really across the parking lot. So it's been a great history, and I was actually pleased to join with Mayor Barton and Mayor Roy and yourself to talk about the good things of the region at the standing committee just a couple of weeks ago. So there was interested MPPs from all three parties asking questions about the success of Durham and how we are working together, because I can tell you that's not the case in all four corners of this province. The announcement I wanted to make was yesterday at Pickering Nuclear, the Government of Ontario announced, the Honourable Todd Smith, about the refurb of units 5 through 8. It's a fantastic day for not only Pickering, but the region, the province, the country, and indeed the world in regards to clean energy. I want to thank Deputy Mayor Chapman for being there, Mayor Foster for being there, Councillor from Team Tito, as well as yourself, as well as former Mayor Ryan and my members of council. It means 4,500 jobs are maintained, 11,000 jobs per year in construction work over the course of the refurb, 2,000 megawatts, which will power 2 million homes of clean electricity when Pickering B is reopened in 2030-ish. So it was a great day for our city and our province. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor Crawford was there too.
Oh.
I think she was standing behind that tall.
Oh, okay. You got to stand up. You got to stand up next time, please.
Okay, Councillor Nicholson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm pleased to hear about Pickering. It brings back a memory that my father worked on the initial build of Pickering Nuclear Generating Station, and we lived on Bailey Road at Oklahoma. So it gives a lot of history before we moved to Oshawa when I was 14. I just want to talk a little bit about the 50-year anniversary, because there's something that sometimes we forget in the 50-year anniversary when we talk about Durham Region being formed. But it also set the boundaries of our local municipalities. Prior to January 31st, 1974, there was a whole lot of small municipalities that were formed together to form our current boundaries. I can say in my own community, where I live now, without the region being formed, I would be living in East Whitby Township, because the southern part of Oshawa didn't become part of Oshawa until January 31st, 1974, when the region was formed, and those boundaries then shifted. East Whitby Township was converted and split between Oshawa and Whitby. Councillor Neal knows this very well, because virtually his entire ward was East Whitby Township. It was like the north and the south of the city, and Oshawa was in the center. Brooklyn was separate. I remember when we had Darlington and Clark Township were separate. There was the villages of Salina and others. I'm sure the good Mayor Clarendon knows those very well. So it's not just a day for Region of Durham. It was a day when our current municipal boundaries were formed, and the futures of our various municipalities all across Durham, north, south, east, and west, became a reality on that day. And we've built from there. So if you get a chance, please go look at the map of your municipality on the day Durham Region was formed. it will be shocking to you what just how far we've come. And I remember my first meeting in '85, the population of Durham Region was less than 200,000 people combined. And look where we are today. And look where we're going to be in 10 years. So we've come a long way, but this never got where we came from. So I just wanted to make that point. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Leahy?
Thank you, Chair. Just wanted to announce and invite all members of council. You should have received invites in the past to the 19th annual Heart to Heart Gala put on by Catholic Family Services of Durham and Rosa Durham. So they support abused women and families in need throughout the region for many, many years. And hopefully you have the opportunity to join it. It's our main fundraiser of the year, and hope to see you there. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Foster, you dropped off my list. But I understand there's a significant announcement related to an anniversary in Clarington. You're still not on my list. There you go. Thank you.
So you've got me at a loss for a significant anniversary in Clarington, other than joining along with you. That I had two things. One was a question, I didn't know where to fit it in. The other is a suggestion to my good friends in Oshawa. There's a snappy new jingle that I was thinking of, and some of the lyrics could be, you know, it's the 100th anniversary of incorporation. Thank you for that, Councillor. Anyway, never mind. But we received very late, and because of the late receipt of the confidential memo, I have not had a chance to read that. But is a report coming? I understand the gist of that memo. Is something coming back to council? Because I think there will be a lot of questions and concerns.
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair, we will be reporting to the next council. We can't take further action without council direction.
Okay, perfect. And Mr. Chair, if you can help me with my announcement.
Isn't it Clarington's anniversary this year?
Well, yes, it was. So I thought that went without saying. It is a birthday party for everyone, and I can tell you, Clarington staff are working on. We are looking at a way of marking the 50th. My observation to staff earlier today is we seem to have lost the ability to celebrate. I was at the McLaughlin Art Gallery on the weekend. Can you imagine a parade because a city incorporated today? So we've got all those pictures on the wall there of people excited of Oshawa's incorporation 100 years ago. And I think today that would happen without anyone making particular note of it. So, Mr. Chair, for what your staff have done, staff right around, I know every municipality will be doing something. I truly thank them for that, and I'm looking for parties across all of Durham Region. Thank you.
Councillor Pickles.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I know we've talked a little bit today during the announcements about some ancient history and some old anniversaries. And on that vent, I'd just like to recognize that it's Mayor Ashe's birthday tomorrow. I don't want to say how many times he's traveled around the sun, but it would make you dizzy. So I just want to wish Mayor Ashe a happy birthday tomorrow.
Well, Mayor Ashe, on behalf of everyone in the room today, happy birthday. Next is Councillor Wu.
Yeah, thank you, Your Worship. And it's very interesting to listen to some of the history of the formation of Durham Region 50 years ago. And when that was formed, Clarington was formerly known as the town of Newcastle, which in some respects I'm sort of proud of because I grew up in the village of Newcastle. But for people coming to visit, as soon as they hit Curtis, they figured, I'm in Newcastle. That threw a lot of people a curveball. But no, the reason why I wanted to speak and on top of our celebration this morning and recognizing the 50th anniversary of the region of Durham, we also had the flag raising for the Durham Regional Police Service. And it was interesting to listen to Councillor Mayor Pietri speak about the formation of our different municipalities into one and how that all changed, no different than the police services. And wanted to recognize the flag raising and thank you to everybody that came out and joined us in the foyer and at the flagpole for the raising of the flag. And certainly important. The police services has played a pivotal role in ensuring the safety and well-being of our community. Certainly, the journey has been steadfast commitment to protecting and serving the community we call home. And as the chair did say, we have the best region in Ontario and the best place to live, work, and play.
In
So
Canada.
thank you. In Canada.
In Canada.
Well, let's say the world.
Okay.
Move to adjourn.
Not yet. Close, though. Lunch will be served right after this, but Councillor Kerr, you are between lunch, bylaws, and the end of the meeting. Don't blame me.
Well, I won't take long, but I will leave the meeting on hopefully a light and cultural note. There is on stage at Oshawa Little Theatre now till February 10th is a stellar award-winning production of Amadeus about Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. His 368th birthday was just on Saturday. It's a visual delight. It's set in 1791, so the white wigs, frock coats, the music is fabulous, but it is a drama, not a musical. I would recommend you see it. The fact that I have a nice supporting role as Baron Gottfried von Swieten in this play has got nothing to do with this announcement, but if you want to see me in a white wig and a frock coat, that's almost worth the price of admission right there. Thank you.
Mr. Clerk, that is the business for the day. Last remaining item is bylaws and then adjournment. So Mayor Ash, could you do bylaws, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's moved by myself and second by Councillor Barton that bylaw numbers 2024-01 to 2024-04 inclusive be passed.
Okay, members of council, Councilor Mayor Pietri on the bylaws? You know your name, you're lit on this. You're on my screen, so thank you. Okay, on the bylaws, all those in favor? In opposition? Seeing none, that carries.
And also,
Confirming bylaw, please?
yeah, moved by myself, second by Councillor Barton, that bylaw number 2024-005, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Council of the Regional Municipality of Durham at their meeting held on 31st day of January 2024 be passed.
Okay, on the confirming bylaw, we'll call the vote. All those in favor? In opposition? Seeing none, that carries. So the last item of the day, Mr. Clerk, would be adjournment. Members of council, there is lunch in the back. Moved by Councillor Neal, seconded by Councillor Wu. On adjournment, we'll call the vote. All those in favor? In opposition? Seeing none, thank you very much to members of council and staff for all the great work today.